Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Geneva Center for Security Policy. From wherever you're following us around the world, we're very pleased to welcome you to this day today, virtually, to take part in the 2025 GCSP Prize for Innovation in Global Security Awards. I'm GCSP Associate Fellow Dr. Paul Vallée, and it's my pleasure to accompany you during this program that will last for about 2.5 hours. This year's program is quite special because we are marking the 10th anniversary of the first awarding of the GCSP Prize for Innovation in Global Security. And in the first hour, we'll be hearing from nearly all of the previous winning teams who have since 2015 helped with their innovations to enhance global and human security. For you in the audience, we've also conducting a prize draw, which you may enter, and this will allow you to eventually win seats at the online Geopolitics and Global Future Symposium that will be held in 2026. More details to follow. After the break, we'll resume at 16:30 Central European Time with the announcement of the prize draw results, and then, of course, the awards ceremony, followed again by an interview and Q&A with this year's top winners. So allow me now to hand you over to our Executive Director, Ambassador Thomas Greminger, to formally open these proceedings. Thank you.
Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to all of you joining us from around the world for GCSP Innovation Day and Prize for Innovation in Global Security ceremony. On behalf of the entire GCSP team, it is a true honor to have you with us in this virtual space today. We are delighted to connect with such an inspiring global community, one united by curiosity, creativity, and a shared commitment to harnessing foresight and innovation to build a more peaceful and secure world. Before we dive into our program, I want to express my deepest appreciation to Professor Nayef Al-Rodhan, Director of our Geopolitics and Global Futures Department, designer and chair of this prize, and his dedicated team for conceiving and bringing this event to life. To us here at GCSP, innovation is the spirit of symbiotic collaboration that bridges disciplines, sectors, and perspectives. Innovation thrives not in isolation, but in the dynamic exchange between ideas, people, and cultures, something Professor Nayef Al-Rodhan with his department has pioneered through his various theoretical and policy transdisciplinary frameworks combining neuroscience, philosophy, global security, international relations, disruptive technologies, and outer space security, including his recent and groundbreaking symbiotic realism international relations theory. We will have the privilege of hearing several of our past prize winners and how their ideas evolved and expanded since winning the prize over the last decade and continued to shape their fields well beyond their initial recognition. In the second and much anticipated part of our program, we'll be awarding the 2025 GCSP prizes, 2 honorable mentions, and the top 3 winners for innovation in global security. Since its foundation by Professor Nayef Al-Rodhan 10 years ago, this prize competition has had a major international presence and impact and shown a spotlight on brilliant minds and projects that are actively shaping the future. This year's entries have been truly extraordinary, offering fresh, executable solutions to complex global challenges. We received 203 applications overall, with the strongest participation coming from Asia, Africa, and Europe, and the top topics emerging as climate change, peace and conflict, and other cross-cutting issues. Thank you so much to all of you for being here and for bringing your intellect and commitment to this important day. I wish you all a deeply fruitful and energizing session ahead.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Greminger. I will now invite, of course, the president of the jury for the GCSP Prize for Innovation and Global Security. That is Professor Al-Rodhan, who's the head of the Geopolitics and Global Futures program and honorary fellow at St. Anthony's, Oxford, for his own welcome remarks.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Ambassador Grimminger. Welcome to you all to our Innovation Day, curated jointly by my Department of Geopolitics and Global Futures and GCSP at large. This is a special year for our Innovation Prize in Global Security, and that it is the 10th version, as Paul had mentioned earlier, of the prize that we started in 2016. I'm very grateful to our distinguished leader at GCSP, Ambassador Thomas Grimminger, whose leadership has been inspirational and steadfast. Thank you, Thomas. I'm also very grateful to our distinguished jury, and I will mention their names quickly. General Andre Blattman, former chief of the Swiss Armed Forces, Professor Daniel Mockley, head of think tank at the Center for Security Studies at ETH Zurich, Professor Jane Royston, who's an entrepreneur and a member of the Swiss Science Council, Ms. Lauren Anderson, who is the founder and CEO of LC Anderson International Consulting and a former senior FBI executive, Ambassador Thomas Grimminger, our director, and myself. I also want to thank immensely our host, Dr. Paul Vallée, distinguished and eloquent host as always, and so dedicated that he's joining us now from Washington despite the hours difference. Thank you, Paul. I also want to thank my tireless staff, Christine, Ines, and Celia. This year, prize submission was a record, an impressive record, where we had received 203 applicants from 6 continents. This is the highest number over the last 10 years. I will stop here and back to you, Paul.
Thank you, Nayef. Of course, it's always a pleasure to be here participating in the online ceremony, which of course has now over time replaced what used to be a physical ceremony back in Geneva. And so we will now travel in time in a kind of a retrospective because we're going to hear about the successive teams of innovators who starting in 2015 were awarded the GCSP Innovation Prize. And of course, we'll never forget as well that, of course, there have been runners-up that have also received certificates of recognition. This is will be the case this year as well. So we're going to successively speak to the winners of 2015, 2016, 2018, 2017, 2018, 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024. Because sadly, the teams for 2019 and 2020 could not be available today. So we will indeed go on with lessons from a decade of GCSP Prize winners. And we will start, of course, with the original winners in 2015. So we had a team of several representatives. Their project was improve the protection of children in conflict mobile application. It was submitted by, as you see, a series of organizations: Stiftung Wissenschaft und Politik Germany, Lucid.Berlin Germany, and the Watch List on Children and Arms Conflicts in the USA. It's a smartphone application that is built to improve the protection of children, enhancing how human rights norms are shared with key actors operating in conflict settings. So let's see what their representatives have to say today. So we're joined here by the first team that won the Innovation Prize back in 2015. So it was a 10-year anniversary for them as well. It was a groundbreaking app to protect children. And so we're fortunate to have 3 members of this team today. So thank you each for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Thank you. So maybe the first question, obviously, over 10 years, you've probably seen your original innovation evolving and impacting the field that you designed it to act since you received the prize. So how has that evolution gone?
Maybe I start. So I think what we've seen actually is that the purpose of the app was basically to navigate the user through a more and more growing and more complex set of normative framework that the EU Security Council set out to protect children in situations of armed conflict. So the basic idea was basically to help the user to navigate through that complex set of resolutions, for instance, that the Security Council put out. And for me, it was very useful actually to use the app in various training settings I've been in, and various trainings I conducted throughout the years after the app has been created. For instance, I moved on to be one of the first child protection advisors ever in a NATO-led mission. And this app tremendously helped us to basically not only train our own forces in the pre-deployment training, but also in theater trainings, basically. So it really was a great use case.
And well, of course, it's remarkable to see that you've actually been able to, of course, use the app in further settings as well. So perhaps that prompts the second question, which is, yeah, obviously over 10 years, we've had some global evolutions that have also, of course, transformed some of the situations and maybe presented you with new challenges with how to use the app in these different theaters.
Yeah, of course, you had it was very interesting is that the case for what we've developed the app, that was of course a problem that's not only valid for the child protection agenda, but also for other thematic agendas of the UN Security Council. And therefore, and maybe Felix can speak a little bit to this, we also developed further apps based on the same principles and same system.
Yeah, maybe I can jump in here. So we created a few other apps afterwards in similar fields. And as Sven already said, based upon the same set of principles, and which are technically speaking as the structured information, coupled with the advanced search capabilities and the visual appealing interface, so that kind of this package together make it able to really get the kind of quick and reliable information sort of at your fingertips, literally. And yeah, and maybe Bethany can talk a little bit more about the actual use cases on their side.
Felix. Yeah, I think the basics for how we hear from our UN diplomatic counterparts here in the New York missions and those who are specifically working on the children in armed conflict thematic files is that they find kind of the basics, the core of the app that was with the original introduction still very useful to them today, particularly in things like being able to use the search function to find specific language that they're trying to defend in a negotiation. For example, they can do a quick search on the app and they can find the previous resolutions on children in armed conflict and exactly where similar language has been found in the past. So they've found that useful to have right sort of in their pocket so they can use it in the room in real time during negotiations.
Oh, so that's very good. So basically, of course, not only have you developed further apps on the same model, but of course you have to strive to keep them user-friendly for the different publics that are being brought in to use it. So can you consider that, yeah, these are sort of newer versions of your original innovation to respond to new challenges?
Yeah, I just want to maybe highlight one of the things which the first challenge we had to come about when we were thinking about the app, and that was a time usually when you had such kind of projects, everyone basically coming to you and try to do a handbook. And but the point was back then that my experience at least was it's always nice to have a handbook, but usually people take it and put it on the shelf. So the challenge was, of course, to kind of completely reorganize the knowledge that's in the app. It's not just putting one PDF document and link it after the other. So you have to restructure the whole knowledge that becomes basically easily accessible, but thereby also operational. And so this is certainly something where I think a lot of things have changed in the past, and in the future, where a lot of AI, artificial intelligence, will then certainly pave the way for future projects like this. But this is basically back then, 10 years ago, the first challenge that we have to overcome. Where probably today a lot of new technologies, like as I said, AI will help to to develop probably for future apps in that field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I suppose, of course, the different language versions that Bethany was alluding to are indeed one of these issues that you may be solving with the AI.
Just to quickly jump in, I think so. The whole AI context is it's something we explore at the moment, and I think it might be also rough to estimate it's purely functional already, or it's working in the sense as the proven apps are working at the moment, that you can really find the proper information. But I think there's not long time to actually see the progress in which machine learning algorithms in these projects can actually help to access structures information and for instance also the unstructured information, which is much more important, and make it accessible to people and structures which don't have huge amounts of resources. I think that's the crucial point in which these technology advancements can help smaller NGOs and institutions to actually have an advantage.
Well, remarkable. Obviously, of course, a 10-year odyssey for you, the members of your teams, going to different horizons and uses as well, in the service of course, the cause you set out, which was protecting children. So, of course, congratulations again, 10 years on. Keep up the good work, and thank you for coming to speak to us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And let's move to 2016. The second winning team was the project from Eyewitness to Atrocities that was submitted by the International Bar Association in the UK. This was a smartphone application providing human rights defenders, documenters, journalists, and ordinary citizens with the ability to capture verifiable videos and photos of international atrocities. In 2016, the team for Eyewitness to Atrocities won the Geneva Center for Security Policy Prize for Innovation, and we are going to a newer member of the team, Cory Bowker, in order to see how things have evolved since. How are you, Cory?
I'm good. Thanks for having me today. How are you?
Very well. So obviously, I think even as a newer member of the team, you'll probably have an idea of how the innovation that Eyewitness to Atrocities introduced evolved, and how it's impacted on the field that you wanted to impact with it since that prize in 2016.
Yeah, so since receiving the prize in 2016, there have been huge advances in technology, and Eyewitness has continued to evolve alongside it. So I'd say in that time, we've seen improved camera systems, the development of AI and deep fakes, and so our team has had to continuously learn and adapt alongside these changes. And I think now more than ever, the technology behind the Eyewitness app is really key to ensuring that footage captured is authentic and to demonstrate that the photos and videos that can serve as powerful evidence in court are reliable and haven't been tampered with in any way. And perhaps I could share a few specific updates that have taken place since then. So in total now, since we launched in 2015, the Eyewitness app has been used to capture over 90,000 photo, video, and audio files around the world that can be used for justice. The app's also available in a number of different languages and has been used in a number of different regions. Since we're receiving this high volume of footage, we've also expanded our roster of pro bono lawyers at top law firms in London who help us in analyzing and cataloging each item of footage that comes in, and that helps us to know exactly what we have in our database so that we can both, one, run targeted searches for investigators, and then also prepare detailed dossiers of the footage and metadata that we have for investigators and prosecutors at different mechanisms, including the International Criminal Court and the Prosecutor General's office in Ukraine. And maybe just to mention as well, footage has also been used in some court cases. So in the Democratic Republic of Congo, footage captured with the app was relied on to secure a conviction against 2 former commanders for murder and torture as crimes against humanity. And specifically, the geolocation feature of the Eyewitness app was used to confirm the location of historic mass graves. And in Ukraine, footage has also been used in 4 cases in Kharkiv.
So that's quite remarkable that in 9 years you've actually gone from an innovation to a quite mainstreamed tool for the objectives you're pursuing. Given the fact that you were just giving us a bit of a history of some of the cases, quite obviously it's probably global developments in the intervening years that have perhaps presented some new challenges to eyewitness to atrocities. So that the innovation can be, brought to work.
Yeah, definitely. So global developments mean that we are constantly developing the app itself to stay ahead of technological changes and ensure the security of the app itself. So in recent years, as I've mentioned, we've seen the rapid expansion of AI, increasing cybersecurity risks, and also the rise of misinformation and deep fake. So often we'll see that a photo or video has been passed off as coming from a different time or location, or it can be more and more difficult to see whether or not it could have been tampered with. So this is where we feel that Eyewitness is even more critical these days to be able to show that the footage captured, particularly when documenters on the ground are often putting their lives at risk to capture this footage that can be valuable evidence, to ensure that they're able to do it in a way that is authentic, where we can demonstrate it hasn't been tampered with in any way. We've maintained the chain of custody, and we have the metadata showing exactly when and where it was taken so that it can meet the standards to be used in court.
Yeah, so the provision of footage and evidence that is admissible in court cases is obviously quite substantial. So, given what you were saying, some of the technological evolutions have maybe perhaps led to you to having to actually elaborate more in terms of the technology or develop some new versions of it.
Yeah, definitely. So as the development of the app is always ongoing and staying ahead of changes in technology is really a key priority. So we're always working to ensure that we're meeting high standards for security and also adapting innovation to meet the demands of a rapidly transforming landscape. And to mention as well, we also continue to expand our outreach to different regions with the outbreak and expansion of different conflicts around the world. We've continued to provide the app in new languages so that it's more accessible, and also to provide training to those on the ground, so both civilians, NGOs, and journalists, to show them both how to use the app and then also provide training on best documentation practices.
Well, thank you very much, Carrie. I think, your example shows very well how you've actually kept up the good work all of these years, and we hope to hear more from it too.
Oh, thank you very much.
(2017). So we now move to a different region, and the 2017 Middle East winners were submitted by EcoPeace Middle East. The winning program was actually in the EcoPeace Middle East program on water security. And this was a program seeking to establish relationships of cooperation and trust at the community, national, and international levels to increase resilience to climate-induced water stress and reduce the threat of conflict over shared water resources. Still a timely subject. So we're here with Gideon Bromberg from the EcoPeace Middle East team, who won the prize in 2017. Good to see you, Gideon.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So of course, since 2017, these been really quite eventful years in your region. So the first question that comes to mind is how has your innovation impacted the field in the subsequent years?
So this is a really traumatic period in our region, sadly, where since winning the prize, we continue to do our global outreach of using the model that we developed, but certainly in these last 2 years, we've had to go far more internal, and really we've spent a lot of our efforts in the first months after October 7th and the war in Gaza, building internally our own strengths, because as you know, our organization is incredibly unique. It's Palestinian, Jordanian, and Israeli together. So for several months straight after October 7th, we were heavily focused on rebuilding trust and making sure that we're communicating internally in a way that enables us to continue our work of environmental peace building externally. And we actually took a mediator and a meditation specialist from Sri Lanka, who was coming from a different conflict zone, and asked for their assistance to work with our own team, with a focus on suffering, with a focus on being able to express the suffering endured by our own staff, and coming to understand that all of our staff in all of our 3 offices are experiencing very high levels of suffering, and that we can both accept our own suffering and also understand the suffering of our other teams. And I think that's what enabled us to maintain a really strong organization at EcoPeace in the midst of the horrors of these last 2 years of war, where in all of our offices we've lost staff members, have lost loved ones. So you can imagine the high level of trauma, and not only maintain the internal relationships and the strength of the organization as a whole, but really to use this period to rethink how we can be even more effective.
Now, this is quite remarkable because quite obviously, bringing in people from outside the region shows perhaps that you've been able to tap into global evolutions in order to mitigate these new challenges. Is that correct?
Yes. So we actually brought in an expert from Sri Lanka who had experienced the trauma of the civil war in Sri Lanka, and had developed through meditation practices efforts of how to accept your own suffering and the suffering of the other. And we found that to be incredibly valuable for our own staff, in order for them to build internal trust to continue the type of external work that we were doing, mostly in these last 2 years, focused on our own public in Palestine, in Jordan, and in Israel.
Mm-hmm. So you might say that in a way that you're currently also developing some newer versions of the innovation that won you the prize originally?
Absolutely, and I think that since October 7th and the war in Gaza, we've broadened our understanding of how we need to work. When at the time that we won the prize, we were very focused on the environment side. Today, we've broadened that to be environment, but also economic, also security, and also climate focus. So we've broadened our efforts to make sure that we're touching on a broader spectrum of self-interest and mutual gains. And in this last 18 months, we've actually launched a new campaign that's focused on the India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor, which doesn't just look at Israelis, Palestinians, and Jordanians, but looks at an economic corridor from India across the Middle East to Europe, and an idea that's not an equipiece idea, but taking this coalition of important political actors that IMEC created and have really undertaken research, developed a strategy of how can we speak to our respective peoples in a manner that builds on the economic engine of IMEC, be a means to also advance the two-state solution between Israel and Palestine, but also to be a means to see broader regional integration between Israel and the rest of the Arab world, in a manner that utilizes the economic engine that the corridor had originally proposed, to see far more inclusion, to make sure that all of our respective states are involved, to make sure that the type of investments that this corridor was designed to advance is not just economic, but goes beyond that and looks at climate resilience and looks at transformative investments that help build security. And the bottom line is that what we've seen is that when we're able to also engage with the private sector, with moving beyond donor assistance for our own region, but building an economy that draws from the experience of Europe, of perhaps coal and steel, and trying to integrate our economies in a manner that leads to investments that transforms security interests. So that through the studies that we've done over these last 2 years, we've highlighted a key aspect of the IMEC idea is a railway across the Gulf, originally designed to move goods from India by boat to come to Gulf ports, get on a train, and come to Haifa in Israel, and then continue to export by boat into southern European ports of Athens, of Piraeus, of Trieste and Marseille. And we're saying that that's not good enough, but we also need to see not only a port in Haifa, but we also need to see Gaza transformed into an IMEC port, and perhaps a third rail link that would go through Syria and into Lebanon and transform also Beirut into an IMEC port, and in that way exemplify how the economic activities can go beyond just economic activities, but lead to shared prosperity and transform security interests, so that it becomes the national interest of all of our states, the Gulf states, Israelis, Palestinians, and Jordanians together, to make sure that we don't allow the spoilers, the extremists on all sides, to take hold like they have taken hold in these last years. And I think that's the model that we've expanded since 2017 to use the economy to build environmental cooperation, to build economic cooperation, to build climate cooperation, but in a manner that transforms security interests, much like coal and steel did for Europe after the Second World War, that really brought European countries together through an economic engine that goes way beyond economy, that goes to national security interests.
Well, thank you very much, Gideon. I mean, those are really very inspiring words and a testimony on your part. So we'll wish you all the best in your future efforts. Keep innovating.
Thank you very much. And we look forward to continue to be engaged with the Geneva Center. "2018. So the winners in 2018 were the team of the BMJ, that is the British Medical Journal in the UK. Their winning project was a clinical decision support and training initiative, which is an online tool designed to improve pandemic detection, diagnosis, management, and prevention. And the aim was to strengthen global health systems in the long term and better prepare them for epidemics in alignment with the World Health Organization. You could see of things to come. Now is Vitaly Rochinsky, who is speaking on behalf of the 2018 winners. That was the BMJ, British Medical Journal. Welcome to you, Vitaly. I wanted to know, of course, it's been 7 years now since this occasion, but what sort of evolutions have you seen in the field that might have impacted the tool that you designed at the time?
Yeah, thank you, Paul, for the question. I guess 2018 is such a long time ago and before the COVID pandemic. So in a way, it was extremely timely. As I'm no longer at BMJ, I can't comment on the evolution specifically relating to the program that we won the prize for. But I think one thing that strikes me even more since the COVID pandemic is the importance of digital education and digital resources. So I think something like the clinical decision support program is possibly even more important now. And, I think it remains true that to be able to reach professionals at scale and to implement these programs at scale, it's really important to have digital resources that can support healthcare professionals.
Yeah, I mean, as you point out, I mean, we've entered, of course, since then, quite sort of different universe as far as healthcare and global sanitary warnings are mentioned. Would you say this environment now is more challenging than the one that you designed the tool for?
Absolutely. I think the geopolitical aspects now are so complex. I mean, one of the countries we were implementing the program in was Ukraine. So, of course, everything that's happening in Ukraine would have a huge impact on the sustainability of an initiative like this and the prioritization of an initiative like this. It would be impossible to be implementing that in Ukraine right now. But I think it's even more important to look at global health security and what that means for countries and how we can support people around that now, given the climate that we're all living within now. I think the other big challenge is funding. So funding for something like this, whether that comes from, governments like the USA and the UK, or whether that comes from national governments' own budgets, or whether that comes from philanthropic sources. Clearly, funding is the biggest challenge facing many organizations and international NGOs. So I think navigating the funding landscape, as well as the global health landscape and the global health security landscape, is a huge challenge for anyone working in this space right now.
Yeah, obviously, I would probably then ask you, between this funding issue that you rightly mentioned and the evolving healthcare landscape, Which challenges do you think are being addressed in priority by developers who are putting out new versions of the tools that you once worked on?
I'm not sure I can speak so much to that, not being at BMJ right now. I think it's important that one of the things I've learned over the last 4 years, 5 years since we won the prize, is that it's important to work in coalition and in partnership with local organizations, with national governments, with state level governments, in order to make something like this stick. And it's important to work with governments to make sure that this is built in as part of their national and regional strategies and part of their financing strategies. Because I think without that sense of ownership and co-creation, and working in coalition with all of the organizations that need to buy into this and implement this, it's impossible to make something like this really kind of be embedded within local infrastructure and national priorities in the longer term. So I think, whatever the geopolitical landscape or funding landscape is, being able to work in partnership and collaboration and coalition with actors on the ground is essential.
Well, thank you, Mitali, for joining us on this occasion with the other former prize winners for the 10th anniversary of the GCSP Innovation Prize. Thank you for sharing these lessons learned as well over the period. And, we wish you well in your next ventures.
Thank you so much.
We fast forward, of course, 2019. The winner were Minefields Info. They were submitted by Bounty DOO from Croatia. It was a smartphone application designed as a warning system for individuals in countries that have problem with live mines and minefields, as is the place in former Yugoslavia. The main purpose of the application was to alert users to imminent life and threatening dangers caused by entering an area suspected of being a minefield. So sadly, we were not able to get them in available time to speak to us today, but you see how important their innovation was as well. In 2020, the winner was the NLP Hate Speech Algorithm Development Project, and it was a project submitted by Tech from Myanmar. The NLP hate speech algorithm uses an algorithm based on artificial intelligence already, and natural language processing, NLP, to detect and counter hate speech, misinformation, and coordinated propaganda campaigns that appear on Facebook and Messenger. There again, we were not able to get them to have time to speak to us, but that too, you see, is a quite relevant project that was awarded the prize at the time. And now 2021. In 2021, the Cyber Peace Institute of Switzerland won the prize for their project Cyber Peace Builders. It's an initiative that brings together corporate cybersecurity experts who volunteer to provide free cybersecurity assistance to humanitarian NGOs who often lack basic cyber protection, and we spoke to their representatives. We're now with Adrien Auger and Fabien Lamgrimmer from the team Cyber Peace Builders. They won in 2021, so it's nice of both of you to join us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. Pleasure.
So 2021, obviously these years have been quite eventful in terms of peace issues. So I was wondering, what was your impression of how your innovation has impacted your field, and whether, of course, since you won the prize, and whether that innovation's been evolving?
Sure. Thanks a lot, Paul, for your questions. Yes, our innovation, which was and still is a matchmaking system between corporate security professionals and non-profits, has evolved tremendously. It has scaled, has grown a lot. Today, we service over 650 non-profits spread across all continents We have 1,600 volunteers coming from over 450 companies throughout the world. We have sent hundreds of alerts. We have detected thousands of threat data points that affect nonprofits. We have conducted over 4,000 hours of volunteering for those organizations. So it's grown significantly and it continues to grow. The team has grown as well. We now have our own custom platform, which we didn't have back in 2021 when we just launched. Now we have our own software engineering team. And so the platform now goes even beyond pure volunteering, which was really the origin of our innovation. Now that we have these communities of nonprofits on one side, volunteers on the other, we're also able to feed nonprofits with cyber threat intelligence that we retrieve from commercial partners for free. We're able to provide them with resumes of people that are looking for a job that could stay longer and work for those nonprofits for a longer period than volunteers. We're giving them access to all sorts of tools. We have templatized all of our different missions. The nonprofits have access to a security assessment that they can do. So it's much more complete platform than it was in 2021. And now we are exploring new grounds. And perhaps Fabian, you want to say a little bit more about the latest developments, perhaps around AI and incident response.
Thanks, Adrian. Yes, sure. So as you said, the platform really quite evolved. Maybe that's leading us to some new challenges that we have with this technology. So typically we started to get new requests coming also from the nonprofit we're working with, because in the past, the goal was really to help them to be more resilient, to be more secure. But what we saw is that you also have live challenges. So you have incident response. You need to tackle live issue, and you need to be able to drive them into better understanding as to what are these issues related to and how to directly react and respond. So to foster a bit all this stuff together, we created some new product, and notably around the AI, to help to identify needs for the nonprofit, but also to help to respond to incidents. So we are able to aggregate data coming from third-party partners that give us technical information about the IT infrastructure of nonprofits, scanning vulnerabilities, looking for dark web monitoring. But you have so many information that come your way, it's impossible to analyze everything by hand. So we had to develop AI technology to help us to identify key elements and to be able to raise alerts. So that, for example, one of the challenges we had to overcome during these last years.
Well, it's just so impressive how much happens in 4 or 5 years, and obviously the global evolutions that have intervened in between. And of course, you were just mentioning the new challenge that's been posed by AI. I was wondering whether you have more thoughts on what other new challenges that intervened since 2021 that have impacted your work.
I think we also saw the incoming of new audience. So when we started the program really at the beginning, we're focusing on non-profit organization, but we saw a new kind of partners that are the foundation. Because the reality, and it was a fair point that we didn't know back in that time, and now it's clear for us, that when you have foundation that typically give out money to their grantees, they also have the interest that the money they disbursed is really used for the operation of the nonprofit. So if suddenly the nonprofit is hit by a cyber attack, and have to pay a ransom or maybe to pay a fee because they are not compliant with a law or the other, it's quite difficult for them to go back to the donors and say, oh, we are super sorry, the money you give us, we had to use it for a purpose that was not planned because we had an issue. So we saw that donors, foundations are super interested to work with us to allow us to protect their grantees and in that way also protect their money. And what we saw is that the price foundation put on the table to work with us is very, very, very low versus the impact and the price saved by the non-profit doing cybersecurity services through volunteers or using our free services.
Wow.
Just to complement on this, you will be familiar with the cuts that the US administrations have taken affecting civil society all around the world, the US being, or at least at the time, was such a big funder. And so now a lot of organizations are cash stripped, and solutions that rely on volunteers are all the more important. And organizations that are funding are also very keen to make sure that the money, as Fabian was explaining, is not stolen by cyber criminals or cyber terrorists. So there's a lot more interest in making sure that money is well protected, which is where our solution really can play a role.
No, very interesting. And of course, when you mentioned that you were also, of course, developing new products, would you represent that also as almost developing a new version of what Cyber Peace Builders was about?
It's all organic. At the end of the day, there's a lot of requests, as Fabian was explaining, that are coming our way. We're all the time asking our audience for feedback and asking them for new ideas. So it's a large community right now. We have over 2,000, 2,500 actual people that are, meeting every day and discussing and giving us feedback in terms of what can be done. And so linking also with the latest evolutions around AI and things like this, or all disinformation campaigns that are affecting civil society and democracies around the world, there's new things for us to do. Typically, unfortunately, in the last few years, there have been a number of cases of high-profile individuals, whether at nonprofits or journalists or police officials, that have been targeted because some of their personal details were leaked online. So their home address was given. This has led to kinetic attacks, physical attacks. And so there's new threats that are popping up that are leading us to offer new services. Typically now, with the municipality of The Hague, we're leading a study to look at the digital footprint of several leaders of nonprofits that are based in The Hague, to see what criminals could have access to in terms of information should they want to go after those people. So there's obviously, in cybersecurity is a very dynamic field, so we need to be in tune with what attackers are doing and make sure that the audience that we protect can navigate those changes. And then we're also a little bit victims of our own success, whereby a lot of the organizations that we work with ask us if we can also service other types of organizations beyond nonprofits. There's a ton of under-resourced organizations around the world. If you think of micro, small, medium enterprises as well, there's a lot of them that are targeted by various online scams and various ransomware attacks, even though they're small organizations, because of the rise of ransomware as a service and the ease with which cyber criminals can now lead those attacks. And so there's a lot of requests for services that can be offered, in a very affordable manner. And so it's also a strong signal that is being sent to the cybersecurity industry that this industry also needs to adapt to the current reality and serve a broader base. I don't know, Fabien, if you have other points you wanted to mention on the product innovations.
No, I think the other product innovation we are working with is really to develop cybersecurity capability of nonprofit through what we call Security Operations Center. So it sounds very common in the private industry. So most of the big companies already rely on tech partner cybersecurity companies, but nonprofit for them is difficult. So the goal for us is also really to be able to have a one-shop place where nonprofit can access all these services through VIP protection, research, but also technology protection training for their staff and their own resources. And that's really a bit the next trend for the coming years.
Well, it's fantastic to have seen, what you've been doing. So we'll wish Cyber Peace Builders, keep up the good work. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
So in 2022, the British American Security Information Council UK submitted the winning project, which is called Off Ramps, Averting Nuclear Use in Crises and War. So this is a project aimed at developing an authoritative, practical toolkit and framework to assist policy practitioners in planning nuclear off-ramps to avert the use of nuclear weapons during times of tensions and conflict. Once again, probably a quite ominous project with our times. In 2022, the team from Off Ramps to Avert the Use of Nuclear Weapons won the Innovation Prize, and we're joined today by Rishi Paul, who was a member of that team at the time. Glad to have you, Rishi.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Well, thank you so much, for helping us recall a little bit. Of course, in the past 4 years or so, you must have now seen a bit of how your innovation actually evolved and impacted on the field since you received the award.
Yes, it's been nice to see how the project has evolved to take into account the current strategic environment and the challenges that poses on off-ramping.
Mhm. And in particular, of course, well, this is a situation in which, well, we've had some, of course, quite dramatic evolutions in the past few years around, the question of nuclear use and whatnot. So, from your vantage point, of course, using off-ramps technology in a slightly for a slightly different organization, how do you see the new challenges that have been presented by this evolving situation?
Sure. So global developments have introduced new challenges and in many ways increased the urgency of the original idea. The rise of asymmetric capabilities, drones, cyber operations, precision strike systems, and AI-enabled targeting has been especially significant. Now, these tools now allow even non-nuclear states to disrupt or degrade the nuclear systems of nuclear weapon states. A few years ago, this dynamic wasn't really fully appreciated, and it directly challenges assumptions about early warning, situational awareness, and of course, strategic stability. The Ukraine war has also shown how fast information can become contested or degraded, and how misperception can accelerate escalation. These are precisely the conditions in which cognitive traps, something that we're looking at the moment, becomes more dangerous, particularly when technology is involved. And then there's the rapid evolution of AI, automation bias, black box decisions, assist support systems, and compressed decision timelines are now real-world challenges. They reinforce the importance of understanding not just what technologies do, but how humans respond to them under stress. So yes, global evolutions have presented major challenges, but they've also made the innovation feel even more relevant.
Well, I mean, obviously, as you're saying, if it's more relevant, perhaps you're also seeing from your angle where there's space for the evolution of the technology itself, the development of new models or new versions. How would you see that?
Yeah. So since receiving the GCSP Prize, the core idea behind the innovation has grown far beyond its original form. Now, at the beginning, we were trying to understand how nuclear armed states could off-ramp during a nuclear crisis. Now, this has later evolved into looking at how emerging disruptive technologies, especially AI-enabled early warning and decision support tools, deep fakes, lethal autonomous weapon systems, drones, and quantum, shape nuclear risk through the human pathway, how decision makers interpret information, how cognitive biases interact with these technologies and its intersection with nuclear, and how that affects the escalation pathways. Since then, that idea has become central to much of my work, how nuclear armed states can create guardrails, thereby preventing the need to avert a crisis and off-ramp. It underpins major strands of research I've been leading, including on specific projects on crisis management across the Euro-Atlantic and Indo-Pacific regions, and my ongoing research on cognitive traps in nuclear deterrence. So what started as a conceptual idea has now evolved into practical typologies, analytical frameworks, and early-stage digital tools that can help us think more concretely about the human technology interface in nuclear decision-making. Now, one of the biggest impacts has been helping shift parts of the policy debate. There is now much greater recognition that emerging and disruptive technologies and human cognition can't be analyzed separately. they shape one another in ways that directly affect crisis behavior and escalation risk. The innovation has helped bring those conversations to the center of the nuclear policy debates. So in short, the innovation has evolved into a broader policy of work and helped reframe how analysis and policymakers can think about the intersection between technology, human behavior, and strategic stability.
Well, we're certainly glad to see that you're continuing this sterling work on, such an important subject. And we hope that, of course, your original experience was the award, and now with the new organizations that you're working with, will keep you on the right path. So thank you very much for joining us today, Rishi.
Thank you. It's a real pleasure to be here. Thank you.
(2023). So in 2023, the team that was led by Dr. Thomas Gonzalez Roberts, USA, won the prize with their project Measuring Norms in Outer Space, the ITU Compliance Assessment Monitor, ITU-CAM. This is a project that featured a revolutionary data-driven tool for understanding how well satellite operators follow the international rules and guidelines that govern the space domain. So we spoke to Thomas. We're here with Thomas Roberts, who represents the 2023 winning team with the ITU Compliance Assessment Monitor for measuring norms in outer space. Good to see you, Thomas.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
And so I was going to ask you, of course, in the last 2 years, how has your innovation evolved and impacted the field that you designed it for?
For me, winning the GCSP Prize just 2 years ago was transformational, not just because the tool for which I was recognized is evolutionary and it's still working today, but because the problem it was designed to address has only grown. So the ITU Compliance Assessment Monitor is a tool for measuring rule following and rule breaking in the outer space environment, particularly with respect to space sharing rules. Norms from the international space community about sharing inherently limited natural resources in the space domain, namely physical space in highly valuable orbital regimes. That's a famous problem that's getting a lot of traction even since 2023, but also spectral space along the radio frequency spectrum. Satellites getting too close to one another, speaking in the radio frequency spectrum at bands that are too close, suffer from harmful interference. And both of these problems grow with congestion in the near-Earth space environment, which is observable in 2 popular orbital regimes.
So you'd probably say that, of course, with the problem growing, you could say the tool has been presented with new challenges.
Very much. And I'm thankful for the international community, which the center convenes so well in Geneva specifically, because tackling this sort of problem, coordinating amongst satellite operators is a global one. And so the exposure that my recognition earned me got me through the door in the international community and specifically in the halls of the International Telecommunication Union, one of the world's oldest international organizations. And that was responsible for managing the spectrum and space sharing system at play.
Well, that's great. I mean, is there your access to ITU and with the rest of the international community helping you to eventually develop a new version of the tool if you want to respond to the challenges?
Oh, very much. My tool was developed to measure space sharing and spectrum sharing in the geostationary belt. That is a special corner of the near-Earth space environment, 36,000 kilometers above the Earth's equator, but not where we see exponential growth in the satellite population, not where problems of space sharing are reaching a fever pitch. Those problems are in low Earth orbit, or the LEO orbital regime. And back in 2023, I couldn't write a tool to measure rule following and rule breaking at the ITU level in LEO because the rules were still under development. But since that time, World Radio Conference 2023, held just weeks after my recognition with the prize, added orbital threshold rules. And this is sort of getting in the weeds, perhaps, of how we manage satellites. But finally, the ITU said how far a LEO satellite can deviate from its prescribed orbital position and still enjoy protections from the ITU. And those orbital thresholds gives me the fodder I need to measure those transgressions when satellites drift too far. So now I'm applying that same methodology from GEO to LEO at a pressing time when the non-legally binding rules that were brought to the table in World Radio Conference 2023 could earn more international recognition and become enforceable by treaty at the World Radio Conference in 2027.
Well, thank you, Thomas. I mean, it was good to catch up with you. Keep on the good work, and we're glad you could join us for this anniversary session of the 2025 prize. But congratulations for winning 2 years ago, and keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
And last year, 2024. This was a project that was submitted by Miss Ishraqador Mniji and Miss Umaima Zghari from Tunisia, an all-women team, actually, and the first one from Africa to win the award. And their project was HeroBee. This combined IoT and AI, so HeroBee's advanced hives provide real-time monitoring and protection for bee colonies. This technology empowers beekeepers with early threat detection and actionable insights, reducing colony losses and promoting sustainable agricultural practices. So on behalf of them, we spoke to Ishraq and to Umaima. So we're going to our most recent winning team in 2024, the team of HeroBee, which is represented by Ishraqador and Umaima Zghari. Very nice to see you again.
Thank you. It's nice to be here again.
Nice to meet you too.
Of course. We're very enthusiastic. Last year, you became the first team from Africa to actually win the prize. So we've been wondering how active have the bees been this year, and so since it's a year you had the prize, how you found that the prize and your innovation have impacted the field you were going to help.
Yeah, actually, since receiving the prize, HeroBee just evolved just from a simple prototype into a solution validated directly by its end users. We tried to develop several new versions of the device and tested them inside active hives in order to test it with beekeepers across different regions. And with these like real-world trials, it revealed practical challenges. We could never see this in controlled environments, and how climate affects sensors, how hives acoustics change with colony behaviors, and what beekeepers truly need in their daily routines and daily practice. And these feedbacks allows us to refine our hardware and strengthen our AI models in order to align with the solution with real-time field condition. And this prize didn't just give us recognition, it accelerated our shift from a promising idea to a reliable, real-world innovative solution that we can test it with beekeepers nowadays.
Yeah, well, this is really very interesting that, of course, you're reliant on the feedback from your beekeeper users in order to get that. I wonder whether, of course, in the past year, you've had some other new challenges that have been presented by global evolutions, and in particular, of course, climatic conditions or environmental conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. As we were developing and exploring global deployment, we realized that how widely environments, like Ishraq mentioned, widely environments, hive acoustics, connectivity levels too, and beekeeping practices can differ from one region to another. So this diversity puts real pressure on our detection models. and make it difficult to scale if we just rely on hardware alone. And the promise of deploying physical devices in multiple countries introduces real challenges in terms of logistic, maintenance, connectivity gaps, and training also users on new equipment. So this obstacle pushed us to rethink the accessibility on the long-term adoption, and instead of just depending on entirely hardware, we began shifting toward a more flexible software-driven model. And the idea now is moving to building, and what we are actually doing is building a digital platform that can operate with or without the physical device. So we can reach more users, adapt to different realities, and collect the diverse global data needed to improve our AI models. And we believe that this transition makes Hero be far more scalable, inclusive, and resilient on a term of international level.
Thank you. So, of course, this shows that you're actively developing an even newer version of your innovation. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's basically these global challenges that showed us like that Hero B must evolve just beyond using only hardware, because we are now developing new digital platform, both mobile and web app, that allows anyone to access B-Health insights without needing a physical device. Use it like we do not need to depend on just physical devices. So this shift makes Hero B more scalable and opens door to a wider community. We're now not focusing only with beekeepers. We open up the door to students, researchers, youth, environmental enthusiasts, and everyone from anywhere in the world can participate to be a part of our impact. So by enabling users to contribute observations, analyze data, and support models, validation, we can create an inclusive international ecosystem. And this global participation gives us like the diverse data needed to strengthen our AI model. Since these behaviors like varies significantly across regions, now we can like include different data from different type of region. And everyone from anywhere can participate. So the new version of Hero B is not just a product update. It's literally a transaction toward a collaborative worldwide service for protecting bees and biodiversity. So anyone can be a part of this impact.
Well, thank you very much. You've really shown us how, even in the space of a year, innovation never stops. So congratulations and thanks you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Well, it was incredibly inspiring to speak to all of these driven and passionate innovators. And of course, we're really grateful that they all made the time to join us today in order to mark this 10th year anniversary and see with us, what impacts and new challenges they've had to work on since being awarded the prize. Certainly, if many of you have been interested by what they had to say and they would like to interact with these teams, you should feel free to forward any questions to us. And these will be passed on to the teams, and hopefully they will be getting back to you quite shortly in any questions you might have. Of course, thank you as well to colleagues Christine and Celia, who worked very hard to set up all of these interviews. Now we've reached a break time, so you'll be able to relax a little bit, have a bit of coffee or whatever refreshment. Please do stay connected because after the break, we will be announcing the results of the prize draw, which, I hope you've been able to enter as well by participating. Remember that you can win seats at the 2026 Global Futures and Global Futures Symposium. Now we will indeed take a break. We're going to resume at 16:30 Central European Time. So with the prize draw award and with, of course, the award of the 2025 GCSP Prize for Innovation in Global Security. So please do stay tuned with us and see you very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, from wherever you're following us, welcome back to the Geneva Center for Security Policy for the award of the 2025 Prize for Innovation in Global Security. It's time, first of all, before we proceed with this, to look at our other winners, and that is our prize draw winners. We are going to give you the relevant information. So this is the possibility for you to win a seat to the 2026 Geopolitics and Global Future Symposiums. We have several dates in which the symposium is taking place next year, January, April, and October 2026. So a few more details here about this. The course will be consisting in 3 different themed modules. The first one from January 2026 is the future of outer space security, which covers outer space security, multilateral space governance, both the traditional and emerging actors in the field. Fascinating subject. Second module held in April is the neurophilosophy of global security. And that's 2 days in April 2026. Dedicated to the neurophilosophy of global security, examines how the recent developments in neuroscience shed light on human nature and help us better comprehend individual and state behavior. And finally, the third module held in October, as well, over 2 days, October 2026, Transformative Technologies and the Future of Global Security. We'll explore transformative technologies, security ramifications, and the ethical challenges that they pose. So really fascinating subjects, animated, of course, by Professor Nayef Al-Rodhan, and as usual, often a number of very interesting speakers as well. So I highly recommend those to you. So on for our prize winners, the third prize is 1 free seat to 1 module of the symposium. The cash value is 500 Swiss francs. And the winner of this prize is Mr. Chukwaka Asanwa. Congratulations. Second prize is actually seats for 2 modules of the symposium, and that has a value of 800 Swiss francs. The winner is Miss Alive Main. Congratulations. And finally, the prize free seat to 3 modules of the symposium, cash value 1,200 Swiss francs. The winner is Miss Helen Krugovich. Congratulations. So that concludes our prize draw. Well done to all of you, and I really hope that you will enjoy these marvelous occasions at the symposium. So now we will now move to the central part of the proceedings. So the announcement of the winners of the Prize for Innovation in Global Security this year, 2025. As of course, this is an anniversary year, but also given a testimony of the quality of all of the projects that were submitted to the jury members that Professor Al-Rodhan introduced to you earlier. It's also the case that we're going to also give out certificates of honorable mention. And we have here 2 teams that have earned this honorable mention. Firstly, congratulations to the team, the project submitted by Mrs. Gülen Devrehili from Human Security Solutions, and the project is called the Human Security Index in Post-Assad Syria. So this is the first of our certificates of honorable mention. Congratulations to this team for earning that. And secondly, another certificate of honorable mention to the team that was led by Professors Henry Farrell and Professor Abraham Newman. Their project is called Weaponized Interdependence, Managing a World of Economic Coercion. Congratulations to you both. And now it is my particular honor to announce you the first of the certificate of recognitions, the team that has arrived in third place. And this is the team led by Dr. Owen Sakawa. His project is LOAI, the Immune System of Artificial Intelligence. Congratulations, Dr. Sakawa.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate the recognition.
Well, if we will speak to you a little bit later, as we will with all of the winning teams. So I will now hand over to Professor Nayef Al-Rodhan to announce the second place winners.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you again for doing all those extensive interviews. Kudos. That was a horrendous, Herculean effort. Thank you for that. The second place winner is called Authentic, a global platform for trusted science communication, submitted by Dr. Nicholas Clifton on behalf of Authentic Sci Limited. This project wins a GCSP Certificate of Recognition. Back to you, Paul.
Well, congratulations to the Authentic team, which we will also speak with a little bit later. And I will now hand over to our Executive Director, Ambassador Thomas Germinger, to announce the winner of the 2025 GCSP Prize for Innovation in Global Security.
Well, thanks, Paul. And the winner is Blue Filter. Blue Filter submitted by Mr. Salah El-Sadi. This project wins a GCSP Certificate of Excellence, a prize trophy, as well as 10,000 Swiss francs. Congratulations.
Maybe over to you, Salah, if you want to say a few words of acceptance.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And first of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to GCSP and jury members for winning this prize and for their efforts to support our initiatives. I appreciate that. And I'm glad to win this beautiful and prestigious prize. And I hope to make or to impose a positive impact in my country and on in all the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Well, of course, my apologies to Dr. Nicholas Clifton because I hadn't seen the indication you're ready to speak. But we will return to you, of course, and pursue the interviews with each of the teams. Of course, congratulations, really, to these excellent teams and their achievements. And of course, thank you so much to the members of the jury who have actually compiled all of these projects as well. Judging this year's prize, some of them have done so, of course, for many years as well. So really congratulations and thanks for you to your commitment to this venture as well. So of course this leaves us some time to move on and speak to each of the winning teams in of course first, second, and third places. So we will go back. First of all, honor to the trophy winner, to Salah El-Sadi. Of course, wonderful to speak to you again on this as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, this must be a nice morning for you as well, Salah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, well, of course, maybe an immediate first question. How do you plan to use the prize to further develop Blue Filter? And can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much again. About this prize, I'm from Palestine, Gaza Strip, but I'm currently got stuck in United States when I finished my Fulbright scholarship. And I will use this prize in order to continue support people in Gaza to find clean water for drinking now, because during this war, 2 years, I lost more than 80% of my project there in Gaza. This prize will help me to rebuild and implement the Blue Filter again, because most of people, which populated more than 2 million population in Gaza, they need clean water for irrigation. It's very important, and this prize it's important for me in order to spend all of this prize in order to help people to find safe access to clean water. Yeah.
Okay, well, listen, this really illustrates the fact that not only have you been working on a pressing current issue on this, so we're really hoping alongside with you that this is going to be an important breakthrough. What inspired you, of course, to develop and get into this field in the first place?
Yes, during my master's study, 2 years in 2016 till 2019, the problem which arose in Gaza, the water contaminated with high percent of nitrate and chloride. And the economic situation in Gaza is not good, and the level of cancer disease increased day by day. High levels of babies, youth, and elders. And regard to the recent report from WHO, there are a high relationship between waterborne disease and cancer disease. And this is attract me to work on my research. I spent 2 years with different laboratories till I achieve successful achievements to remove nitrate and chloride. This is why I worked on Blue Filter and achieved these results of removal for nitrate and chloride from water. Yeah, and not only in Gaza, this pollution everywhere on all the world, high percent nitrate and chloride. The second reason, most of traditional methods, it's expensive to remove nitrate and chloride, so expensive, consume a lot of energy. There are a huge side effect on our environment as a pollutant. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, of course, you're considering perhaps also not only Gaza, but other regions and countries in which Blue Filter will be able to operate in the future.
Yes, yes. As example, I did consultation and training in Ghana for farmers, because the first goal or object of Blue Filter to provide large quantity of water for irrigation. But now I added water for drinking, because what's going on in Gaza. In Ghana, it's very important for my technology for those countries, because this technology free from chemical additives and electricity power. And it's easy to install up it with any in any place or with the farmers. Yeah. I can expand Blue Filter with different countries.
Yes, so obviously also several horizons for Blue Filter, and in the next few years, are you actually planning some further innovation and improvements in the technology for your next few years plan, I guess?
Yes, sure. What I'm looking for it now, because now in United States I got stuck. Now I'm open. I'm looking to find a country, maybe in Geneva, in Europe, or any country, in order to implement or to expand the Blue Filter there, because My situation here, to be honest, my student visa is expired, and now I have like limited months in order to leave. And now I'm looking forward to another country which having me or host me in order to implement a blue filter. Not a blue filter, I have a lot of patents. I can share all my experience in order to help people everywhere with a clean, green technologies in water and other sectors.
Well, we're certainly wishing you the best, Salah, in this these particularly difficult circumstances for you as well. And maybe before we conclude, I mean, of course, on a personal note, since you have the experience of course, having done the work for the innovation itself, and then of course now winning the prize. And since we heard from previous winning teams, perhaps we might hear a little bit from you if you're already having some thoughts of what recommendations you would give to future innovators. I mean, those who want to tackle environment and public health issues as you do, or perhaps some further afield. But yeah, some words from the innovator.
Yes, yeah. This is very important point because I recommend all teams, all students, researcher to keep going, working on their ideas, because this idea not like to write idea only and to hide this idea on library or at any place. We need like to make this idea as a business in order to help people. We need to think about, because these ideas, we can share our ideas to solve difficult problems in the world. We need like to make cooperation, partnership. I can give example about me. My master thesis, I converted it from a research into like initiative or a project. Not I'm looking like to finish my study then and to get high score, or then I will forget about my research. No, we need to keep working on our idea. It's very important to think and to think by ourselves in order to help others. It's not difficult, it's easy, but we need to have we need to have determinations in from our inside in order like to make positive change in the world. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Salah. This is, of course, very inspiring. We're very glad, of course, to share this particular moment with you. And of course, we will come back to you a little bit later as well, because our audience probably will want to participate further in the Q&A with you. So thank you so much for the moment. And we will now move to our next winning team. And Nicholas Clifton is going to give his acceptance speech, a little bit delayed, and then we'll proceed also hearing a little bit more in detail about Autenticide.
Fantastic. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. And of course, thank you to all of the jury of the Geneva Center for Security Policy for this fantastic recognition of our work, and congratulations to the other winners as well. It's a real honor to be up here with these other very inspiring projects. So for us, the recognition, it truly means the world. Autenticide is a project that's driven by volunteers spread across different countries in Europe. And we share this passion for scientific integrity, and the prize acknowledges the efforts that we've been making pursuing this goal that we all care so deeply about, and clearly affects many others globally. So Autenticide has this critical mission of combating online misinformation in science. And we do this by harnessing the expertise of the global scientific community, and they then give feedback on how science is portrayed in mainstream media. So this prize isn't just a recognition of the work that we've been doing, but also of the scientists on which we rely to give their time generously, and also recognize the incredible impact that every scientist can have, and indeed are having already on restoring trust in important scientific issues. So we're still very young as an organization, but above all, Authenticai is scalable, and we're very much ready to grow. And we'd like to use this opportunity to encourage other scientists, wherever you are, to join our community and tell others of what we can achieve here. So we promise to use this award in full and to give a voice to credible science communication. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Nicholas. Obviously, of course, we have some time, and of course, later on there will be the Q&A as well, probably questions from the audience as well. My first question would be, of course, to learn a little bit about perhaps your background and what led to the inspiration to create Authenticai. When did you start? Indeed, what kind of gaps did you feel you were trying to fill by setting it up?
Yeah, so I'm a full-time academic. I'm a neuroscientist working at the University of Exeter in the UK. And like many scientists, we experience inaccuracies in the media quite regularly, but we feel like there's nothing much that we can do about it. We don't have this voice to have an impact after science has been misinterpreted. And of course, members of the public every day, they're exposed to huge volumes of media of different types being shared online, and many members of the public don't know what to trust. For example, in vaccine misinformation, it leads to people dropping vaccination uptake, and that reduces the population immunity for many of us, and it affects the health of us all. But there are some fantastic fact-checking organizations out there already, but unfortunately they just can't keep up anymore with this volume of information that's being generated. And so what we wanted to do is create a platform that was scalable with that increasing volume of media coverage. So that's the gap that we've identified and are attempting to fill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, obviously, perhaps you can walk us through the Authenticai browser extension, how it works, and what is a user going to see when they read an article that's been reviewed?
Yes, so like you say, we have this web browser extension as well as other forms of or other methods to communicate the reviews that come in from scientists. So that web browser extension, it allows the general readers to request expert feedback, but it also allows the scientists to give that feedback in real time. Scientists log in using a ORCID identification and ORCID verification service, which allows us to verify that they are indeed scientists. And then they provide scores and a commentary, text-based commentary, commenting on the quality of the evidence, the extent of the bias, if any, in the material, be it political or financial, etc., and then, of course, of the clarity that the science is conveyed in. So those reviews are then aggregated, and a consensus score is presented to the general public to see. And so what it means is that it just takes one member of the public to flag something, and then this sets off it triggers expert feedback that everybody can benefit from in the future after that point. And we share the reviews on social media platforms to increase the impact of each of those and raise the visibility of the scientists that are contributing as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, once again, a quite timely tool as well. And I think you mentioned expanding beyond written articles to other media types like video or social media. And so, do you foresee any technical challenges to move into that kind of area?
Yes, so this is certainly a niche that we want to move into, and certainly an area that current fact-checking organizations perhaps don't cover quite so well. And so the platform works it requires a unique identifier, which would be the URL. So any media that includes a URL, we would be able to interact with, and scientists can provide commentary which would propagate and be attached to that media in the future. Absolutely, there's challenges around specific social media posts, and we've got to do work to make sure that we can interact with more unconventional types of media. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And have you already gotten feedback from scientists and the general public on their use of the platform?
We do, yes. I very much enjoy promoting this platform to scientific and general audiences. We always get very enthusiastic feedback from the scientific community. Of course, scientists are aware of their responsibility to communicate research. It's something that they see as a part of their role in society, but actually they don't necessarily have a method for doing it. They don't always know how to do it. Communicating directly with the public isn't for everyone, isn't for every scientist, but this platform gives them a way of having impact, real world impact from the comfort of their home, and also from any time that suits them, because of the flexibility afforded through Authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
With the general public, we have several public events, and there are other public events coming up. But one of the challenges for us is influencing more disadvantaged communities. So we've got a lot of work to do there, accessing disadvantaged communities.
Yeah. And any plans to use the GCSP recognition in developing the next phase of authenticized development?
Absolutely. This is exactly the type of recognition that for an early company like ours at the moment, working in this space, we need to demonstrate the credibility and the authenticity of what we're trying to do. This prize will allow us to attract attention from key partners, potential partners, be they science societies or other NGOs, or people working in policy and science communication, so that we can go to the next level of what we're trying to do, so that ultimately we can become this widely trusted source of expert information. Yeah.
Well, great, Nicholas. Congratulations on
Thank you.
this certificate of recognition, and we'll of course also return to you with questions from the audience at a little stage. And so we're now going to Owen Sakawa, so the innovator who won third place recognition certificate. Good to see you, Owen. So talk us about LOAI and what inspired you to create this.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. This award is actually an honor for us and a recognition for what we are trying to do. Because for me, it started with a very simple question. What if the AI is wrong? Because AI is becoming a part of critical infrastructures, and anything that becomes infrastructure must also become very trustworthy. So we are entering a moment where AI models are influencing diagnosis, public health systems, financial resilience, and even national security decisions. And once a technology reaches that level of impact, the conversation can no longer be about what can an AI model do. It must also be about whether people can actually trust and rely on this technology. So my team and I started ELO because we felt a weight in a gap that AI capability was accelerating exponentially, but also the systems necessary to keep it reliable, accountable, and safe were not in place. So this prize is extremely meaningful to us because it validates something I deeply believe in. Safety and innovation are not opposing forces. They are two sides of the same progress. So I want to take the time to thank GCSP community for creating a space where these conversations can happen across borders, across disciplines, and across institutions. The challenges ahead are global, and solutions we will have to also be global. So, to the innovators here today, I would like to say the future belongs to those who build with humility, curiosity, and courage, especially when the work is hard, the risks are real, and the outcomes matter to millions of people around the world.
Yes, thank you. Of course, for that call to unite. And what I notice is that many people talk about AI safety as kind of a long-term issue, but LOAI is, of course, designed to act on it right now. So, why do you feel that immediate AI compliance is so crucial for global security?
No, yeah, that's a good question because, as I said earlier, AI is touching our lives and we've seen it cause more harm than good. And every aspect of new innovation, it comes with hidden risks. And the biggest hidden risk in AI models, these are hallucinations, these are biases and model drifting, where these models are actually telling you what you shouldn't be able to do. So our goal.
We may have a slight loss of communication here with Owen, who is also based in the USA. So, well, these are the hazards of electronic communications, I'm afraid, but very hopefully we'll be able to get back in touch with Owen. And to all of you participants, I would, really recommend to you to keep the questions flowing via the Q&A function on Zoom. Certainly, the teams are standing ready to relay your questions to our winning teams as well. We already have, I see, questions for all three teams. So thank you very much, giving each of them the opportunity to elaborate on their innovation and explain more as well. Wondering, of course, whether our jury president, Dr. Nayef Al-Rodhan, has any particular questions he would like to ask as well to any of the team members. Honor to you, Nayef.
Thank you, Paul. I actually don't have anything specific. I'm just so impressed with the diversity and the innovation of these distinguished winners. And maybe a general question for all of them, and maybe you can reflect on that, Paul, is what the motivation is for doing these things. Is it just intellectual curiosity? Is it public service? Or is there an avenue that they think of to commercializing this? Or all of the above?
Right. Well, we will indeed relay some of the questions we've been receiving. Shall we go to Salah? And indeed, as Nayef was saying, are you seeing any perspectives of eventual commercialization of Blue Filter?
Yes, okay. Thank you, Dr. Nayef, for this question. I'm looking for all of these, what he mentioned, because, innovative and new technology in important sector water purification, it is important to commercialize and to think about intellectual properties and others important points. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Well, perhaps I can direct also this question to Nicholas as well. Well, it might be a slightly different perspective given the voluntary nature in Authenticai, but are you looking at some of those perspectives as well?
Yeah, so you're right that Authenticai is a non-profit and now a registered charity in the UK. We have activities in primarily in the UK and in Germany. Although for us, the important goal is that this is carried forward and that there becomes eventually the achievement of that end goal of having the layer of information in between the general public and the scientist with interaction with the media. So if that takes the possibility, if that takes to do that, that actually Authenticide becomes enrooted and partnered with another organization that's perhaps more experienced and has been doing this for a number of years, then so be it. For us, the priority is that this ends up as a reality. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Nicholas. We'll be back to you. I have some questions to relay as well. Going back to Sala, so we received some questions from the audience for you. The first one is, can you explain how the biofiltration system works and why plant-based materials like seeds are so effective in removing nitrates and chlorides?
Okay, thank you. This is a good question. During my research, when I did like different examination and tests for plant seeds, I used like specific type of plant seeds and a mixture of like plant seeds and eggshells. And this biofilter, it's not like chemical filter. This biofilter is like a magnet, work a magnet and attract nitrate and chloride. This filter is like piloted with a group of farmers in Gaza, and we still like in MVP stage, between like pilot and MVP stage. And this magnet we can use like 1 kilogram, for example, a mixture of plant seeds and eggshells. In a case we insert or put this material in a case. This case, it perforated or it's like a sieve in order to allow contact between water and the internal materials of a plant seed and eggshells. And we can use this filter for 50 times without any lack in its efficiency. And we can reactivate it again after like saturated with nitrate and chloride. This filter is, because its ingredient plant seeds and eggshells, the process which we are looking now to register is as a patent. This process which changed the characteristics of plant seeds and eggshells to work as a magnet to remove nitrate and chloride.
Oh, thank you. Well, that goes, I think, with the next question we've received for you, which is, are there future technological innovations that you're considering to address other contaminants?
Yes. This is why now I'm working on it to remove heavy metals, and I hope to make a good, successful story by treat saline water. If I make this change to treat saline water, I will do like a new innovation in order to decrease the salinity of water. I'm working on both heavy metals and saline water. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you, Salah. We'll be back to you with some more questions. I'll hand over a little bit to Nicholas as well. So the first question that we received for you is about how central is collaboration to your vision, and our audience member wanted to know what kinds of partnerships with universities, NGOs, and media outlets are you seeking to strengthen Authenticide's impact?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Of course, collaborations are key for increasing the visibility among the scientific community, first and foremost. We're working with them also to make this reviewing activity an encouraged and recognized form of contribution. That public engagement isn't always something that scientists are currently rewarded to undertake at universities. But if we can demonstrate to universities that the impact that they can have through platforms like this, then perhaps that will become a more formal integration with the reward structure of the scientist, but also it could form an impact case for the universities themselves, which then influences their university rankings and such afterwards. It's possible in the future that we could also interact with media outlets to support their accurate reporting. I think it's really important for me to say that what we're developing shouldn't be seen as as being an enemy of journalism. You know, we want to work hand in hand with them to form something that is helpful for everybody. And one way that we could do that could be that we could give journalists access to our pool of reviewers at an early stage in the editorial process, or perhaps we could give some sort of recognition to quality journalism in science.
Mhm. Well, no, thank you, Nicholas. And of course, I can say on a personal note, you know, when you're an academic doing a bit of an interface with the media world to reach out to the general public, this kind of service is, of course, extremely valuable to help all of us, you know, improve our performance in that matter. The next question I had for you from the audience is. Where would you see Authenticide in about 5 years? And do you think it might become a standard layer of the online information ecosystem?
Yeah, absolutely. I can see us being in that position, and I think it's a reality. It's very achievable that we could get there. We have a scientific community that is ready and willing to do that, as the current community that we work with have demonstrated, that we've provided this scalable platform to do that. And I think that we just need visibility. We're at a point where that this type of pride, this type of recognition is of massive impact for us, and we just hope that other organizations can see what we're doing and help us to achieve that visibility. So in 5 years' time, we would hope to have a considerably larger community of scientists interacting and form a really useful resource for anybody, any readers in Society of Science related news.
Okay. We'll return to you with more questions. This is generating really a lot of interest, so we're very pleased for you as well. I'm going back to Salah with a message as well as a question from Hayel. And well, perhaps, of course, you will be able to prolong the exchange at a later stage as well. That's, you know, always the case for all of you in the audience who are submitting questions for our winners, or perhaps for past teams. Keep flowing the messages; they will reach you. So Salah Hayel was asking, what would you need to commercialize and prototype your pre-MVP? He mentions that he's a GCSP alumni and happy to explore how he can help you and others with AI safety and fact check in commercialization.
Yeah, thank you for this question. We can like discuss this about cooperation, or like in order to commercialize Blue Filter, I need like to find institutions or a good laboratories in order like to add the final like improvements on Blue Filter MVP products, and to find a good place or market in order to implement with the farmers, because you know I'm looking now to find other country, because unfortunately I cannot go back to Gaza. Yeah, but I manage my team there in order to help people with the water. But I need like to find safe place in order to work like full time on my project Blue Filter. And it's easy like to make cooperation with other like winners. I'm looking for this because we can achieve like a good things to remove other contaminants, or to work on other sectors like health sectors or other sectors which need like my technology. Because before I came to United States, I used this technology in order. This is as a research, but we haven't the final results, to use the material which used in the Blue Filter to remove some toxic materials from our blood. Yeah. We can take these advantages to find different solutions in order to make like, you know, a good change and to be helpful in any field.
Yeah. Oh, well, great, Salah. Well, I hope you'll be in touch with Hayel on this matter as well. I had another question for you, which was about how do you feel the international security community could better support innovators like you?
Yeah, it's good like to keep continue work with me and other winners in order to follow our development, our progress, and if there any need to support to partnership or to connect or to increase our networks, it's good to be active, not like when we finish this ceremony, honorable ceremony, then we will forget about the winners. We need to keep in touch, maybe weekly, I mean monthly or quarterly. It depends. I like this because it's good to be active on this way. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Salah. There are still more questions coming. I'll pass over to Nicholas as well. I'm afraid for the moment we're not back in touch with Owen, but there are a few questions for him as well too. But to Nicholas, our participant wanted to know what strategies are you developing to make Authenticity accessible in different languages and cultural contexts?
Yeah, so this has been on our minds recently. I mentioned earlier that we have operations in the UK and in Germany primarily, and our website is already available in English and in German. And that can be changed by the user. But beyond that, it's important that in order to access other communities across the world, we continue to undertake translation of the content on there. And it's not only these scientific reviews, but we also have some educational resources on there that general readers can use to help them to navigate science media more intelligently and with the skills to identify what might not be correct without the need perhaps for or so much of the need for expert input.
Yeah, so actually, well, of course, expanding in different languages might also be sort of a technical challenge when you're expanding into. I think we touched on that before when you're trying to expand towards other media types. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah. Of course, different demographics primarily use different media of different sources. It's perhaps easier for us to accommodate news published in the traditional format. But YouTube links, they have an identifiable a unique identifier that we can use. Several types of media we can integrate in there, audio webinars, etc. And as our platform develops, we work with a fantastic software development team that are fantastic innovators in themselves and are creating solutions for these types of things. So yeah, we look forward to these new challenges as they come across.
Okay, thank you, Nicholas. I'll return to Salah with a question that was sent to us by Ramanullah Masood. And the question is, is that going to be, of course, directly relevant to Blue Filter? How can AI technological innovation help us to tackle global climate change challenges?
Yeah, this is a good question. Now, to be honest, looking to make integration between the Blue Filter technology and AI, because I need to make this filtration system, it's easy from traditional methods, because then the first the first market I'm targeting farmers, and I need to take advantages of AI in order to aware farmers, educate farmers about these terminologies. I mean, nitrate, chloride, heavy metals, because I did a lot of surveys with high numbers of farmers, more than 5,000, about their knowledge in pollutants, meaning nitrate levels, high salinity. Unfortunately, more than 80 and 90%, they have like limited knowledge about these pollutants. And this is the main reason why the pollution increase in terms of nitrate and chloride. They use a lot quantity of fertilizer, chemical fertilizers, and they haven't any information about what these fertilizers will affect on our environment. And AI is good, like if we like make integration to use some specific sensors in order like to follow the levels of nitrate and the chloride by using innovative like lenses or some tools. Because when I'm doing examination for nitrate and the chloride, it's expensive. And I use like traditional methods like spectroscopy, other chemical methods in order to examine the concentration of nitrate and the chloride. But if we like take the advantages of AI in order to give me these results immediately and by like new methods, it will be fine. Yeah.
Right. I have a question here, which I find really quite interesting because it would be great for you, Salah, and for you, Nicholas, to actually consider it because this was an interesting aspect to both of your works. What was the most difficult technical or logistical hurdle that you overcame during development? So I don't know whether you, Salah, want to start and then Nicholas.
Okay. Yes. There was like a problems or difficulties in technology. You know, when I'm doing some research and examination in my country, Gaza, I haven't all like instruments or devices to do these tests. And I used like to send samples to Cairo to some universities and laboratories in order to examine the results when before and after use blue filter. Then I waiting like maybe 3 months, 4 months until to get the final results. How I managed these problems, I modified some instruments at my laboratory in Gaza, like to do like the same tests for this contaminant, but it's expensive. Okay, in order like to save time and to get these results like immediately. The other difficulties about the blue filter cases. It's not easy to import these cases outside of Gaza. We use some workshops in order to develop these cases locally, and it's easy like to develop these cases from plastic and some kind of metals locally. And I managed overcome these challenges. This is like a short story about these challenges for me.
Well, that's great, Salah. Thank you very much. Nicholas, did you encounter logistical questions that were relevant to developing Authenticai?
Yes, we certainly encountered logistical problems. As a academic, we didn't have experience in business, and actually all of the founders of Authenticai are academics across Europe, and we were passionate. We had this goal, but perhaps not the experience from the business perspective to get this started up. And we've learned a huge amount along the line, and this was perhaps the major hurdle to getting to where we are now. And it was only made possible because of these fantastic initiatives that were available, for example, business accelerators, and support from mentors who generously gave their time, and also pro bono sort of legal support was required at countless steps along the way to get this to the professional state that it is now.
Well, of course, obviously, maybe even the future will tell you whether you encounter some other things. But of course, you're also on the learning curve here, so that's obviously very good to have settled that as well. Looking over some, I think, our final questions. We're almost about at the end of the program. Again, of course, sorry that we couldn't pursue with Owen Sakawa as well, but we will reverberate that. And of course, as this is a recorded program, some of you will be able to rewatch all of these interviews, and perhaps you will then be inspired to forward some questions to Sala, to Nicholas, to Owen. Thank you very much for doing this. So I think for the moment we have reached the final list of the questions. So our program will draw to a close. It's actually, of course, been really quite a momentous moment with the of course, the winning teams of our past years and this year as well. Thank you so much for all of your commitment, for your drive, your innovation. And I think we're all at times feeling in this particular world that we are facing a lot of challenges. But thanks to these teams, we also have the impression that we're somewhat also in good hands. So there's a really uplifting aspect to being able to award and recognize these different teams. Thank you so much for all the work you have done. So as this is time, this will bring to a close the 2025 Prize for Innovation in Global Security Award ceremony. Thank you to everyone who has participated. Of course, the teams that submitted those 203 projects from all 6 continents, a really gratifying effort. And of course, there will be a prize next year, so keep trying. This is an important mission you're on to. Of course, our jury members, presided by Professor Nayef Al-Rodhan and by Ambassador Thomas Grimminger, who've taken so much time in examining these different projects and so on. So thank you very much for your contribution on this part. Among us, of course, at GCSP, of course, thanking those GCSP luminaries who have taken part in this afternoon's program, and that is, of course, Ambassador Grimminger, Professor Nayef Al-Rodhan, our jury members, other staff members at GCSP who have been behind the scenes, of course, marketing the event, broadcasting it as well too, and of course my thanks in particular to my own colleagues, of course, Christine Garnier-Simon, to Celia Cherel, who joined us this year, of course, to Nayef's assistant, Ines Gachal-Bosch, as well. Always lovely to work with all of you on this particular event. So all of them have actually worked very hard to make this program available to you this afternoon. So we look forward to seeing all of you again very soon. We wish you all a nice rest of the day wherever you are. And for now, that will be a goodbye from us at the GCSP in Geneva. See you very soon for another prize innovation ceremony. Thank you very much.